Founder and CEO of EverSmart City. EverSmart City is a mixed-use IRL smart community built with shipping containers to provide affordable housing, powered by renewable energy. It has sustainable agriculture and is integrated with blockchain technology. The pilot city will be built in Phoenix, Arizona, breaking ground in 2023.
My name is Mark Anthony, co-founder of EverSmart City, and if this is your first time seeing one of our videos, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you can also get notified for all of our future videos. Hit the notification bell, and be sure to check out our past videos. If you like talking about smart cities, affordable housing, sustainable developments, renewable energy, cryptocurrency, metaverses, be sure to jump in our Discord. This is where we continue these conversations. We love to meet people. We want you guys to introduce yourselves and even share some articles, some information of things that you find interesting, and ask any questions because all your questions inside the Discord, we address and answer them here on the channel and video.
All right, this is part 2 of how accurate are smart cities depicted in the movies. So we did a few movies on part 1, and Mark, kick us off. Which is the first one we're going to talk about?
Yeah, so the first one we're going to talk about is the movie The Circle with Emma Watson, Tom Hanks. The movie was very interesting. If you guys seen it, it was where Emma Watson had started working for this new company called The Circle, and they were this kind of AI tech slash social media company called The Circle, where basically they tried to digitalize people's entire life experiences, kind of through social media, and a lot of it kind of reminded me that brought up a few different things that I can see different things going that way, especially with some of the things that we have today in terms of how close can it be where um, people pretty much had to, if they were part of the circle at one point, she was working there and they were asking why she wasn't in all the different groups. Her father had MS and he was suffering from MS. And there, one of her supervisors came up and asked, "Hey, what did you do this weekend?" And she was saying how she was caring for her father who had MS. And they're like, "Oh my God, we didn't know this. We thought we knew everything about you because at the circle that finds out pretty much all your data, through all your social media accounts, all your internet interactions." Like, how come you didn't join these support groups and start networking and meeting these people? You should have joined this group. If you came over the weekend, we had all these different events going on, and they gave her this watch to wear. And as she wore the watch, it was almost like a what they call a Fitbit watch, where it basically did a full medical scan of your body at all times. Obviously, regulated your heartbeat, your blood pressure. It could do so much more, almost like how the Fitbit can tell if you are about to have a stroke or a heart attack, different things like that. And it could do so much more. And she was supposed to wear it at all times. And it kind of uh, put a geolocation on her as well. So if, say, anybody was having an emergency event medically, then the watch would know exactly where you are, and it would know before it even happened to already be sending emergency services. So it was pretty interesting how I can see our technology that we have today kind of advancing into something like that. Um, Another thing that happened in
Or
the show was
how we kind of have that already. I mean, because
right.
there's all those bracelets that the elders can wear that do medical alerts. Your Fitbit already can tell if you're having a stroke, if you're having a heart attack, if you're having seizures. It can tell from and it can do alerts. So I mean, the technology is already there, and we are seeing components of it. This is just probably more focus concentrated response of it, tied into social media.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely here, and it's going to advance even more. It's very interesting. So the last thing about the circle that was kind of interesting, where they had kind of like this social currency in a way, or like they tried not to say that it was a popularity contest, but essentially it was a popularity contest based off of likes and dislikes. And there was a point in the movie where they were trying to say that if you had a circle account, you had all the KYC verifications that you needed to make that account to essentially be registered to vote for voting like president. And they were trying to work for a way that all people who were registered to vote had to be registered to vote through the circle and then vote through the circle as proof of their vote. And they were trying to use this essentially social media platform to prove who people were and use it as a voting system. And I know when this last election, there was a lot of debate on the votes and counting, and a lot of people were starting to talk about new ways of how to register and count voting. Some people were bringing up solutions that maybe a blockchain could work. Some people were trying to find other uh, potential solutions that could lower the risk of the controversy. And what they, we all know that they did a recount, and it took them some many months to recount all the votes. But this app it's kind of talking about in the movie, kind of similar situations that could or could not happen, and using the circle to be a solution. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, there's a social reward in there that they, were inferring to, and that is already being, I don't know if tested is the right word, but that's already being um, carried out in China. And I
Yep.
know that in our smart cities, in every smart city, we are looking at doing incentivization for um, positive behaviors. So a little bit different. And here when they were doing like the fittest, it was more about your wit, your social acumen. So it's interesting how they take components of what's already here, like the technology that's already here and that's being used, and they kind of, I think what they were doing is drawing the lines, the dots, and putting it all together and showing that, on their own, there's these little pieces and components that standing alone seem nebulous. They seem like, pretty benign, I guess is a better word to say. But you stick them all together and put them into an AI aggregator, and it's a catastrophe. And it's something to kind of, I don't know. It gets, I think it really starts to keep the audience asking questions about like transparency. We say we want that, but what would it look like if there was full transparency? And I think, for the younger generations coming up, they don't even know what it's like to, make mistakes and without having potentially the whole world know about it. When I was growing up, you screwed up, your friends just never let you live it down, but, you know, it wasn't public so much unless somebody really had to go out of their way to make it public. But now it's like there's a added pressure that you do something, and the whole world, it can be displayed and it stays with you forever in that digital footprint. So I just think it kind of brings up some of those questions and whatnot.
I'm really
All right.
glad you brought that up because that kind of leads us into our next movie or film. This is The Mirror. And you mentioned how China has this system where they're starting to kind of use this social credit. And a lot of people started talking about this TV show, The Mirror, where there was this episode, I think it was called Nosedives, where their basically social media likes, like their likes and dislikes on their posts or whatever, were a currency in the show. And people kind of got this social media addiction. There was another episode where people were getting the social media addiction on trying to just flex for Instagram, or I guess is what people call it, or just showing out for Instagram or just social media in general and trying to chase likes. And it was funny because a lot of people were drawing parallels to the social credit that they're trying in China, um, which is a lot of basically what you're talking about. And there was another episode in Black Mirror where another thing that you just talked about, where you said if you made a mistake, your friends may have held you to it and never forgot about it. But in the Black Mirror, there was an episode where this, technology was basically recording your entire history, like all of it, from beginning to end, basically, like kind of like from just the camera on your smartphone type of thing. And you could basically see everybody's history, everybody's timeline. And it was kind of like you just said, like never forgotten, where your friends never let it down. And it was just kind of in your friend's circle, maybe. But now, in the show, it was kind of like this public thing, and it was tied to your social credit, kind of like what they're doing in China. It's just very interesting because it kind of led to this thing in the show um, about cancer culture, and we're kind of starting to see that today, where a lot of things on social media, be it like Twitter or other things, where people's responses in the public are starting to influence different decisions made by corporations or different committees. And we're getting like these cancel culture, especially on Twitter, where we've seen people like Alex Jones or Donald Trump and many people other get literally banned from Twitter and not have the ability to have freedom of speech on those platforms, and different shows, or people getting removed from different TV shows because of this cancer culture and people's response on social media or on the internet on how they feel about different things going on. And a lot of that was happening in Black Mirror, and we're starting to see it kind of trickle into today, and we're starting to see a lot of parallels.
Yeah, Black Mirror is one that I can't speak about. I just I watch movies, not TV, so or anything that has to not be a movie. So thanks so much for kind of giving us a breakdown on that. I have heard about a lot of great things about how it's got maybe kind of like a dystopic view on what the technology where it can lead us. So,
Mhm.
what's our final movie that we're going to talk
It's
about?
free, guys. One I haven't seen, but you always are telling me to watch it, that I
Yeah.
need to watch it.
Well, it's got humor in it, so it kinda brings some levity, and that's because Ryan Reynolds stars in it, and, I'm a big Ryan Reynolds fan, and the thing about Free Guy is it takes an old movie, I think it's called They Live, from, like, I don't know, the '80s or something like that, where and this kind of brings in some people there's like, I don't know if it's a conspiracy, but people start posing the question, "Are we in the Matrix? Would we know if we were in the Matrix?" And, that's one thing, like, how would you know if you're in the Matrix? And so Ryan Reynolds' character is in, like, a video game type of atmosphere in the Matrix, but he doesn't know it because every day he's, programmed to play this thing, and then he all of a sudden gets these glasses, and this is, like, the same thing as the movie They Live. He's getting these glasses, and when he puts on the glasses, he can see the world for what it is and where there's, like, tokens and the life, the emergency little kit with the cross in it where you can, like, fix your face really quick and get if you got blown up, you can get put back together and all the tokens, and he meets somebody from the real world, and then the whole thing is that it's this metaverse. It's the bridge to the metaverse, right? It's taking, like, Ready Player One and adding in, like, real how does, like, real life get injected to that? And already we're already talking about that in the metaverse now in the virtual worlds where if you've got a car or a house or something in the real world, in the IRL, you just, like, kind of take a picture, get a 3D image of it, and you can actually then transpose that or transport it into the virtual world. And you can carry that. If you've got a car that you really like there, why not bring it into the virtual world with you?
It's crazy.
So,
You see a lot of that in Grand Theft Auto, where people do all these mods. It's going to be really interesting to see what Grand Theft Auto and The Sims do next if they get into the metaverse, because they've always had kind of that for the past few years. And I'm waiting to see how they get into the metaverse. They need to.
all right, cool. Well, thank you so much for that. It was fun kind of going through the movies, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to go through in the future because these are just popping out, right? So we look forward to continuing the conversation with you in Discord. We dropped the first NFT backed by a smart city. These have staking abilities, so be part of history and purchase one today. Ever Smart City, where technology enhances the human experience.